Hello, hello. Seller motivation. Until you identify whether or not they're motivated, do not move on to the next step, because if they're not motivated, it won't matter whether there's road access or a flood zone, and you can just end the call there. Hey, I'm Chris Thomas, and this is Land Flipping 101, where you can learn how to earn your financial freedom through land investing, even if you're a complete beginner with no experience, because on this channel, I'm showing you how I'm successfully doing it. Okay, so I like to chime in every now and then and give you my pipeline. This helps me stay accountable, but it also helps me kind of know like where I'm at with my business. So right now I have 18 properties on the market for sale across 6 different states. I have 7 more properties that are in the listing creation phase, which 5 signed deal. Well, I've also got 5 signed deals, but I'm only marketing those to neighbors because there's some reason why I don't want to take it to market. For example, one of them is on the river. It's in a 100% flood zone and it's not buildable. Hi, Pat Wallace. This property has no road access or an easement, so the only way to get there is via the river. And there is another property very similar to this one, to which there is road access, and the previous owners visited the property for camping, and the way they got there was via a swinging bridge across a river. In this case, we're contacting the State Conservation District to see if they want it. We have one with a 30-foot walk from the road to the property, and there's no easement. So we sent neighbor letters and we got no response. So we're discussing right now whether or not we're just going to drop this one. Then also, I have a couple of dozen property or prospective sellers where they're just checking on questions that I had, or I'm waiting for them to send in the agreement. So quite an active pipeline right now. And I only just share that with you, not only to stay accountable, but just to let you know I am actively working in this business every day. And I'm sharing with you my real world experiences. So today's topic is responding to sellers. Like, how do you talk to them? I get this question quite a bit. I know a lot of people who are really good at the research, but they just don't feel that comfort level when talking to prospective sellers. So that's our conversation for today. But first, there's a question in the group I wanted to talk about. Brian Kevin LaGrange asked me about startup costs. And these really vary, Brian, just based on your goals. But if I were going to teach you how to do it, I would recommend that you have at least $5,000 to invest in sending mail. If you target properties the way that I do it, you can easily earn $20,000 per deal. And I'd give yourself a minimum of 3 months to prove the concept. So start sending mail, give yourself 90 days or so to see what kind of response you get. All right, so today's topic, responding to sellers. So think about a time when you contacted a company because you were interested in their products, but you only found out that they didn't answer their phone or they didn't reply to your inquiry in a timely manner. How did you like that? Just like any business, great customer service can build your business and create long-term relationships. And poor customer service can spread quickly and steer potential customers away before you've even had a chance to prove yourself. And because this is a relationship business, sellers need to feel heard and understood. They typically have a story that goes with the land, so plan to spend at least 15 minutes letting them tell you their story while you take notes. Now be ready to record everything they tell you, because each detail can be important in later conversations. You're taking this time to let them tell you why they want to sell and how to buy their property. You have to build trust during this call, so let them do most of the talking. Your main job is to listen to what they want to say. Be personal and friendly. Use their name occasionally when you want to make an important point, but allow the conversation just to flow naturally and let the seller lead at first. Okay, so just be patient with them. Mirror their tonality and their rate of speech. Let them know if you cannot answer a question, but we'll find the answer and follow up. And then follow up and deliver what is promised. I like to say under promise and over deliver. Hi, Earl White. Do I have a buyer list to flip properties to? Well, yeah, I do keep a buyer list, but that's not typically how I'm selling my properties. But yes, I do email, and I do send them my new properties whenever they come up. Hi, Corey. Hi, Evelyn. All right, now let's get back to the topic. Okay, so talking to sellers. All right, your first goal is to discover motivation. Is this person interested in selling their property to you? Or are they just calling to gripe about your offer? Some people are just curious about what we do, and some would like to know what we think their land is worth. But in every single case, you can identify a motivated seller if they tell you they don't want the land, or they're tired of paying the taxes, or they're getting too old to take care of it, or they never go there anymore. In other words, they are non-wanters. So they don't want it anymore, and they're happy to have the offer so they can get it off their list of responsibilities and worries. They're just ready to cash out. All right, typically the motivated seller has one of the following situations. Either they've inherited the property, they purchased it a long time ago and they just don't use it anymore, or they have never used it as they originally intended to, and now they're just too old and they don't want to anymore. Or maybe they purchased it at an auction and they've been waiting for the right time to sell. And everyone knows the market's hot right now, so a lot of people think this is a good time to sell. But until you identify whether or not they're motivated, just don't move on to the next step. Because if they're not motivated, it really won't matter if there's road access or a flood zone, and then you can just end the call right there if they're not. So a great opening line to discovering motivation is just saying, hey, tell me about your property. And then after they share with you how wonderful it is because they want you to buy it, you may say something like, well, it sounds so nice. Why would you ever want to sell it? And then be quiet. Now, if you don't get a direct response, sometimes people will talk all the way around their motivation. Just let them keep talking until you can comment again on how great it is and ask them another way. So, why are you thinking about selling? And then once you're convinced that they're interested in selling, you can begin to steer the conversation and make sure your due diligence questions get answered. Hello, Corey. I see you have a question. I noticed the letter you send out has an option for sellers to take a picture of the signed agreement and send it back via text message. Can a photo of a contract be submitted to title? Yes, Corey, I do that all the time. That is not really the actual document you use to convey the property from one person to another. So yes, that is sufficient to show agreement. Hi, David. I see your question. You say, I have 2 lots side by side. Should I list it on the MLS separately or as one listing? You know what? I have that exact same issue, and I have done both. I've put it on separately, and then I tried, when it didn't work that great, I did do a marketing push for the 2 combined, and I'm just trying to test whether or not that works better. I think you just try it one way, and then if you don't get any response, say in 30 days, then you try it the other way. That's not exactly a clear answer, but you know, it's all about see what the market responds to. Also, you can look at the comps in the area and try to get a feel for, you know, what are people buying? Are they buying the larger acreage or the smaller? Okay, so back to seller motivation. I will say this, rarely will you ever have the exact same conversation twice, but there are certain questions that are vital to moving forward in the decision process if you want to take on a property. So now if they are motivated, you can move through the basic questions, which is, you know, what did they think of the offer in the letter? So if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I send blind offers. So my first question, once I know they're motivated, is I ask, what'd you think of my offer? Sometimes I don't have the offer in front of me and I don't even know what it is. So I just wait to hear what they say about that. And sometimes they have the letter and they can just tell me. And of course I can look it up later. Then I ask them, are they the owner of record on the property? Because if they're not on the deed, I'm talking to the wrong person. So that let them have a chance to tell you, if they're not on the deed, why they're the one calling you. Maybe they inherited the property and it's going through probate and it's about to be in their name. You never know. So just ask that question. And then the next most important thing, if you know that they like your price, that you are talking to the person who owns the property, then the next most important question is, how do I get there? Okay, so does the property have road access? And if there is no road access, you need to know if there's a legally deeded easement. So in the deed, is there language that says you have the right to cross over other property to get to the main road? Of course, you need to know the size of the property and like where it's located and what attributes. A lot of times I'll just say, what do you like about it? And that's part of the motivation question. Sometimes I get that answered early on before I know if they're motivated. They might say, oh, it has great views, or it's right on the river, or it's close to Disney World, or whatever the big attribute is. And so you want them talking about that so you get a better idea. Why did they buy it in the first place is a good question. And then, of course, you need to know, are the taxes paid? Is it in a flood zone? Are there any restrictions? Is it buildable? These are all things that you can research on your own. But I do like to ask the seller because I want to know as much as I can from them. And I also want to know how much do they know about the property. Okay, Aaron Pinto, I see your message. How can you legally get paid to connect a buyer with a seller if the buyer won't allow an assignment? Well, Aaron, that could be answered a number of ways. You could buy the property outright. You could do a double close where you're the one buying and selling. I hope that helps. Feel free to send me a private message to more clearly define what you mean there, because I'm doing that on all my deals. Let's see. Corey said the photo they send back via text won't have our signature on it. No, but you can put your signature on it and then scan a copy of it. So that's fine. The title company will take that. No problem. If you have any other questions, put them in there and I'll be happy to answer it.